Karl, a watchmaker in Hamburg, loved his daily walks on the Elbe beach. He found solace in the rhythmic crashing of waves. The salty air invigorated him. One breezy afternoon, something shiny caught his eye. Half buried in the sand lay a tarnished silver pocket watch. It was intricately engraved.
This is no ordinary find.
He picked it up, his heart pounding with anticipation. He brushed off the sand. The watch felt strangely warm in his hand. His fingers traced the intricate engravings. He slipped the watch into his pocket. Karl felt a sudden urge to return to his workshop. He needed to examine his discovery more closely. Back in his workshop, Karl sat at his workbench. Tools were neatly arranged around him. He carefully opened the watch. Inside, instead of gears, he found a miniature astrolabe. It was more complex than anything he had ever seen. Just then, his old friend Suzanne, a historian, walked in.
Karl, you won't believe what I found.
She placed a wooden box on his workbench. Inside, nestled on velvet, was another timepiece. It wasn't a watch, but a miniature clock. It had a single hand and was adorned with a carving of a ship that looked eerily familiar to the one engraved on the pocket watch.
Suzanne, this is incredible. The symbols on this clock, they match the watch I found.
He showed her the pocket watch. They pored over ancient maritime maps and dusty volumes. They deciphered the symbols on the watch and the clock. The trail led them to the legend of Klaas the Kraken, a notorious pirate who, legend had it, possessed a magical time-bending clock.
Could this be his clock?
Suddenly, a dark figure darted past the workshop window, casting a fleeting shadow. Before either of them could react, the door swung open. A hooded figure, face obscured, stood in the doorway. In a flash, the figure vanished, the clock gone from its velvet cushion.
Stop, thief!
Karl cried out, his voice echoing in the now empty street. Adrenaline surged through him. He knew he had to get the clock back. He had to unravel its secrets. The chase was on. Through the twisting alleys of Hamburg, they ran. The thief, agile and quick, darted through the crowds. Karl and Suzanne, their hearts pounding, followed closely behind. The chase led them to the docks. There, on a creaking, weather-beaten ship, the thief turned, a triumphant smirk playing on his lips.
"You'll never catch me."
He shouted, his voice barely audible above the roar of the wind and the cries of gulls. He held up the clock. As he did, it began to glow, bathing his face in an eerie light. It was then that Karl recognized him.